Alright, folks, we talk a lot about the classic innocent spouse relief. So, for example, if there are like obvious unreported income, or there's like some separations of liability relief, so for example, already divorced, right? So, you know what? That's just the classic innocent spouse relief. And if you don't qualify, you know, you can still use some of the clauses that, you know, if you don't qualify for the stricter rules, like the classic innocent spouse relief, you can maybe try these methods. Because, as I explained, a lot of tax laws, you have to think about it from the legislator's point of view, right? When they devise this law, they tend to make the law as applicable as, everyday scenario. Okay, they wanted to sort of understand the what's going on in the real world. It's not just some scholars in the ivory tower and just devise some of the things that have no applications in the real world, but rather this is just to try to be flexible and human. Okay, and we could talk about this. I think this is the most flexible and human part of the innocent spouse rules. So this is the IRC Internal Revenue Code section 1615F. It's about equitable relief. Okay. So basically, you're not qualified under the stricter rule, but it's simply not fair to hold you responsible. Do you haven't you have a scenario when there is a rule here and you say, well, if this rule got like applied to you, that's not fair, right? So from the legislator's point of view, they should get some of the fallback rule that, if it's not fair, and even though it's not fair, but it's still not qualified, there should be a like safety net. And that's the equitable relief that we are talking about. Because you know what, IRS is like pretty flexible in these terms. It's like saying, well, is life is, we get it. Life is not just a black and white. It's just sometimes it's not fair. So you can also consider this. Okay, this IRC section 1615. By the way, you can also check this law, check the current in fact law at this website. So it's uscode.house.gov. Okay, you can check the current law that are in effect, so you guys can see. As I'm recording this, we got like a text containing those laws in effect on November 6, 2025. As I'm recording this video. So basically you can see this relief from joint and severe liabilities on joint return. And we're talking about the RSC section 1615F. So basically you can sort of check this A, B, C, D, E, F, go all the way here. Equitable relief. Okay? So basically all this is, I know it's a law language. It's a little bit hard to understand, but let me just simplify this for you. This just simply say that based on all the facts and circumstances, it will be unjust or it will be unreasonable to sort of force you to pay the tax. Okay? So basically it's not about the legal technicalities, okay? It's more about the fairness. So yeah, this is a little bit nuanced clause, and you might ask, how can the IRS decide the fairness? Okay, so let me show you. So basically, if you look at all this, like here, okay, you look at the specific form 8857, you can see a lot of hints of how you can provide information, how can you argue for your case, and then, IRS can sort of say, hey, yeah, we got this information, we got that information, we can like consider that in a whole. So for example, for example, I think here, who is spouse, here, and all that, yeah, what was the highest level of education you had completed when the return or returns were filed? So you can sort of see, well, why IRS need to know the education level? Okay? So for example, if you say, hey, I don't understand what's going on, okay? Because I didn't know, I couldn't reasonably know about the understatement. I have no knowledge of that, okay? I don't even understand. This is a typical, place that they can get that information, okay? And there are lots of places that you can actually see. This is kind of a hint. When you feel that all this information, because you're basically argue for your case, you can sort of get that feeling that, oh, this is the factors that IRS take into considerations. And based on the equitable relief, we can sort of know how IRS decides what is called fairness, because fairness is like a really vague term, and we can sort of infer that from this whole legislation, right? We got like the IRC code, but also we can use this form to infer some of the key factors. So, for example, we got this marital status. Okay, we got economic hardship. We got knowledge. We just see that, right? You didn't know about this. We will talk about that, but I'm going to go through all the list. And the legal obligations, significant benefits, and compliance history, abuse or control. And how to, like, it's like not like no single factor guarantee approval sort of thing, right? So basically, IRS is like a waiting all kinds of a situation and then say, hey, depending on what kind of information that you provide, we consider it all, we review it, and I think, well, the kind of wait overall situation and say, well, it's just simply not fair for you to do that. So we're going to do something that sort of relieve the burden of your tax. Okay, so we're going to go through all these factors in next video.